Our next speaker is the CEO of Edelgive Foundation, the philanthropic arm of the Edelweiss Group. Under her leadership over the last 8 years, Edelgive Foundation has become a catalyst for change, dedicated to collaborative philanthropy. In addition to being a board member of Edelweiss, where she worked as a CFO for many years, she serves on the board of various prominent organizations like Agastya International Foundation, Janagraha Center for Citizenship and Democracy, Asian Venture Philanthropy Network, Women on Wings, etc. She's earned an MBA degree from IIM Ahmedabad and spent the first 11 years of her career in the field of investment banking with companies like ICICI, Peregrine, and NM Rothschild. Please welcome Ms. Vidya Shah.
I'm really privileged to be here sharing the dais also with Ashish Dhawan, who have tremendous respect for the way he's really shaped and introduced very new thought in this sector. I met Ravi a few months ago and was very, very excited by the idea of ISDM, largely on account of two reasons. I'm here as representing Edelgive Foundation, which is the philanthropic arm of the Edelweiss Group. We're about 10 years old, and I remember in 2007-08, when we were thinking about setting up this foundation, when I started looking for people, I come completely from the corporate, the commercial side of the equation, and I thought it would be relatively easy to find people who would come and join a grant-making foundation such as ours. The only difference was that along with grant making, we were very clear that we wanted to build the capacity of organizations in the sector. And that came out of my early experience of making grants, which showed that organizations, most social sector organizations, really lacked the talent and the people who could help scale and grow the organizations that they worked for. And most of the issues were commonplace. They were issues that people in the for-profit world just take for granted: strategy and planning, or human resources, or systems and processes, or financial sustainability. And our whole idea was we would provide a combination of funding and capacity building support to the organizations we funded. And as I started looking for people, I saw that there was a very clear divide. There were people who were from the social sector, generally had a master's in social work and from a great institution like TIS, or there were people who'd worked in the for-profit world and wanted to make a switch. And there was a big divide. There was nothing in the middle. And that was really my dilemma in the beginning. How do you find people who could provide the balance? And my solution to that was to hire from both ends of the spectrum, but to bring them together and to be able to understand each other's cultures, ethos, the principles under which we were trying to set up the foundation, took up a lot more time than I had anticipated. And that's why something like ISDM, which is really providing that balance for people who are truly interested in development, but can bring a management, a leadership orientation to the work, is something that's really exciting. The second reason is what Ashish also touched upon. Most of us in the funding world, we're always vexed by why there isn't scale. And if you actually look at the few organizations that you can count on your fingertips that have actually scaled, like Akshay Patra or Agastya or Pratham or Akanksha and TFI and a few others, the strange thing about all of them is that they've all been started by people who came from the corporate world in some avatar or the other. And it leads us to the question is, what was it about these people? Was it that their orientation was already there for scale? And what built that orientation? Was it the fact that most of them had worked for 10, 15, 5 years in the corporate world and then came here? And therefore, did they engineer themselves a priori for scale? And that seems to be a very interesting question. And if we have more people like that who bring the understanding of communities, the understanding of program design, the understanding of social work, along with a leadership bent, a managerial bent, a little bit of Peter Drucker, a little bit of Philip Kotler in a sense, into this world, world, you would probably end up having organizations that start getting built for scale right from the beginning. And that's why I find the idea of ISDM very, very exciting. I really wish Ravi and the whole team all the very best. I'm sure we'll do very well, and we're all eager to see the products of this institution. Thank you very much.